The following program is a presentation of Family Health Productions.
Hi, I'm Matt Damon. I know that sometimes it seems like everyone drinks alcohol. In movies, on TV, at parties, even at school. And there are a lot of different reasons people drink. I'm going to introduce you to 4 young people, Robert, Dana, Megan, and Ilton, who'll tell you the truth about how alcohol has affected their lives. As you make your own decisions about alcohol, I hope you'll remember what they have to say.
Soccer was my passion, my love. I put my heart and soul into it. Every afternoon, every night, it completely absorbed me. I felt alive on the field.
Robert was so skilled at soccer that in high school he was invited to join an Olympic development team. The Olympics, that was his dream. And Robert had another passion, his friends. On weekends they partied, sometimes with older kids, always with alcohol.
There were a number of reasons why I drank in high school. It relaxed me at parties when I'd see others that perhaps intimidated me or I wanted to get to know. It was something I thought could really put me at ease and make the situation more comfortable.
One summer night after drinking a few beers, Robert headed to a party in his dad's car. He says he'd had just enough beer to feel good.
It was one of those nights, you know, when you're on top of the world, nothing can happen to you, you don't care. You know, I felt I was bulletproof. I felt I was unstoppable. I was traveling down Brookwood Road 60 to 80 miles an hour, and I came around a turn and lost control and started fishtailing to the left and right, eventually hitting a tree head-on. My right leg stayed in the car, and the rest of my body flew out. My pelvis split. Both my arms were broken. My ribs nearly were all broken. My eye socket was fractured. I was really dying, bleeding to death.
Miraculously, Robert survived. During a slow, painful recovery, he learned to walk again and to accept that life would never be the same.
What had happened to me didn't truly sink in until my entire soccer team came to visit me in the hospital. It wasn't until I saw all their faces teary-eyed looking at me in the hospital bed that I realized I would never be out on that field with them again. My father came in one late afternoon from work, already had been crying, and just held my hand and put his head on my shoulder. I could see it in him that he was questioning what did he do wrong or what could he have done better, and he couldn't have done anything better. It was a moment of me recognizing that it was my own fault and no one else's. There are no doubt days where I will sit on the end of my bed putting on my prosthesis and really hate myself for what I did. It is not easy, and it is oftentimes quite painful. I certainly wish that I hadn't have done it, but I need to accept that. I need to move on. I need to feel normal.
Robert remembers his mom and dad's warnings about alcohol, that it affects your judgment, the way you think. They told him that no matter how many times someone gets away with drinking, there may be one time they don't, and then there's no turning back.
The day before my accident, I went on a fishing trip with my father. He warned me about the dangers of drinking and driving, about drinking in general at my young age. And I didn't really understand the meaning of the words. I was too cocky, too self-absorbed in my own soccer success and whatnot. I didn't think his words applied to me. I just thought that drinking was so normal that it wasn't a big deal at all. I didn't appreciate what he had to say as truth, as concern for my health, for my safety.
Robert wishes that he'd listened to his dad. You might hear Robert's story and say it could never happen to you. That's human nature. But Robert says it's also denial, something his younger sister now understands.
She has seen her brother dying in a hospital bed. She understands that it can happen to anyone.
I still get pressure to drink because I hang out with people who drink every weekend, and I choose not to drink because it's not really worth the consequences. I feel so much better about myself as a person because I'm not letting other people make my decisions. I can say no, and they respect that.
Robert doesn't indulge in self-pity. He doesn't have time for that. After hundreds of hours of practice to regain his balance and skill, he's earned a spot on the national amputee soccer team.
Being a member of the national amputee soccer team has been incredible. But I would love to have worn that national team jersey with 2 legs, being an able-bodied player. That was my true dream.
How close does tragedy have to strike in your life before you believe you could be at risk? Robert drank to feel less self-conscious. And now, for the rest of his life, there will be people who consider him to be so different. But there's another reason people drink alcohol: to deal with stress and sadness. And we all struggle with those kinds of feelings. Breaking up with someone we like, having a tough time with friends or our parents, or dealing with problems in the world around us. Dana proves that even under extreme circumstances, we have a choice about how we deal with stress. Dana looks forward to one day owning her own business. Her cousin, LaCardia, will be there too. They do everything together.
She's like a funny person. She keeps me laughing. She keeps me smiling all the time. And we just have a lot in common.
Dana and LaCardia share another goal: to be the first in their family to graduate from college. So they've made a deal with each other to try to avoid anything that might throw them off track, like using alcohol. It's not easy. They know that for a little while, alcohol can help you forget things that are bothering you and block out stress. Dana and LaCardia have had plenty of stress. It started a few years ago. Dana's brother, Tyrone, was a high school basketball star. He was so admired that his image was painted on this neighborhood wall. His talent on the court earned Tyrone a college scholarship, but he turned it down for life on the streets. Then one night, shots were fired. Tyrone was murdered.
It was just so sudden because he had just called us and told us he was on his way home and he never came. You want him there so bad, but you know that it's been so long and he's not there anymore and he's not going to come back.
In the months after Tyrone died, Dana turned to her god-sister Monique for support. Dana respected Monique.
I looked up to her because I wanted to do exactly what she was doing, going to school, doing good in school, and then just going straight to college after high school.
But when Monique left for college, tragedy struck again. A week before classes began, her roommate's boyfriend, a disturbed guy with a gun, shot Monique dead.
It hurt. And I wasn't talking to anybody, and I was just I was more in a daze. When her funeral came, I was trying to be strong for my mother, but it wasn't working. I wanted to be there and not cry and make her feel like it was gonna kind of be all right. But when I seen the casket, I actually couldn't. I had to cry and I had to let it out and I had to hug my mother and thank God that she was there with me and stuff like that.
Dana was devastated. One death was unbelievable. 2 deaths unbearable. In her quiet moments, Dana still deals with the pain of losing people she loved. Dana and LaCardia know there are lots of different ways to cope. They see others they know use alcohol to tune out pain and stress.
I can understand when a person has problems and they want to drink, but I think it would be better for them to find another way to deal with their problems because it's still going to be there. In reality, you're really not escaping from it. You're just adding to your problems. I deal with stress sometimes I'll talk to LaCardia. I'll just really try to talk it out and write it down.
Dana and LaCardia are taking charge of their lives. They're beating the odds. By supporting each other and by sticking together, they're staying focused and safe.
It's not easy being the good person. You're watching everybody else drink and you're just trying so hard not to drink. One day when I'm older and I'm successful and I have all the things that I feel as though I need and want, I just know that I look back and say, well, I stood my ground and I respected myself. I would tell other kids, you just gotta have that strength and just not to do what everybody else is doing just because everybody else is doing it.
Dana's wise to understand that the choices she makes now can impact her dreams of graduating from college and starting her own business. Sometimes when you get caught up in the moment, it's hard to remember that. Megan didn't stop to consider how drinking could affect her life, and she ended up paying a high price. Megan grew up the youngest of three. She had a happy childhood and was always close to her mom and dad.
My mom and I, you know, we would go shopping and we would talk and I would tell her everything. And my dad and I, we always had a certain connection. We always were goofing around.
Megan hung around with kids her own age till she turned 14. Then she started partying with her older sister and her friends. That's when she started to drink.
Alcohol was a way that I used to impress people. And I thought that, you know, oh, here's this 20-year-old guy. I'm going to have a beer and drink it, and he's going to think I'm cool. And that's just a whole silly mentality. But, you know, as time went on, it was more, oh, well, now I'm at this party, I have to drink to fit in. It changed progressively. I, you know, wanted to drink more. And I didn't exactly know why.
In 1 year, addiction snuck up on Megan. She didn't just want alcohol, she needed it. She thought she couldn't have fun without it. But her friends started to avoid her. They didn't like her drunk. So she found other people who drank like her and convinced herself she was popular and just like everyone else. It was all a lie. Megan stole to buy alcohol. She cheated in school. She said terrible things to people she loved. Her parents tried to help her, but she hid her drinking from them and wouldn't listen. She blamed everyone else for her troubles. If someone accused her of drinking too much, she'd tell them she could quit if she wanted to.
I thought, I completely have this under control. First of all, I'm 16 years old. Second of all, you know, my parents don't drink. My sisters don't drink. You know, I just can't be an alcoholic.
Then one night, something horrible happened. Megan got drunk at a party, and a guy she'd never met before offered to help.
And I'm up on the third-story railing, about to fall off, and, you know, he takes me down and he says, oh, I'll go calm her down, we'll go for a walk. All I remember is running and running and running, and finally just getting caught. And to my it was terrifying. And I was sexually assaulted, and there was nothing I could do. You know, I looked up to the sky and I said, God help me. You know, because it was at that point that I knew that I could not live this life anymore. It's like all I can remember is sitting there and just not feeling good about me inside or outside, and wanting to just another solution other than drinking. And I just, you know, I would get in the shower and I would cry and cry and cry.
Megan's parents knew something had happened. They wouldn't let it go. They confronted her. Megan was in so much pain that she finally told them everything and admitted that she needed help.
It was the first time that I had ever seen my dad cry. And they both just held me. The next day, I was sent to a counselor. Basically, I was an alcoholic, is what she said.
Megan went into a treatment recovery program for alcoholism. It was a long, hard road getting sober and facing herself. She's 21 now and so glad she got help. Treatment saved her life. People say, if I get into trouble with alcohol, I'll quit. But it's not that easy. It's been 5 years since Megan had a drink. She says she still thinks about alcohol and sometimes wishes she could drink. But she knows it wouldn't be worth it.
You know, I tell my friends I don't want to be around them if they're going to get drunk. I mean, I don't care if they drink around me. I just don't want to watch them get drunk. If you're drinking because you think it's cool, or you're drinking to go get drunk, or, you know, you're drinking to fit in, I would say that those are not good reasons. and I would go think about it some more before you actually went out and did it, because it's a very, very dangerous thing to just pick up.
Megan has relatives who are alcoholic, so she's at a higher risk. But plenty of alcoholics don't have the disease in their family. If you drink to get drunk, you're abusing alcohol. Alcoholism could sneak up on you too. When you're young and you drink, you miss opportunities to discover things about yourself. Here's Ilton. You'll see that's not happening to him. Ilton works hard to stay strong physically and mentally. He avoids alcohol to stay in peak condition for this.
I've been dancing ever since I was 6 years old, you know, but I started breaking b-boying at the age of 14. It's just the best thing, you know? It's just fun. Dancing is like my shadow, you know? It's like always there with me. It's like whenever I go on a train or anywhere, people see me as, oh, there goes the dancer, you know? It feels great.
Ilton dances with the Floor Lords, a dance troupe founded by his uncle Lino. Ilton says dancing's a positive alternative to alcohol.
Dancing, it just frees my mind from stress, from everything else. It's like a natural high, basically. Well, I could be down, and just knowing that I have practice today, I'll just be all right. You know, I'll start thinking of some new stuff to work on that'll throw like all the stress like right out of my head. I don't drink alcohol, and I don't need it because I feel like it's a magnet. You know, either you get into a fight, you're stabbed, shot, or arrested, anything can happen. You end up doing things that you don't like doing, or you end up regretting something that can affect your whole life.
Through dance, Ilton's met his closest friends, a group of guys that he says might have headed down the wrong path. But he taught them to dance, and now it's a refuge for them, too. As Floor Lords, they share a powerful bond.
My friends are like my brothers, you know, they're like my second hand. Anytime I need anything or any help, I could just go to them. Being in a group that doesn't drink, it helps a lot because you got the whole group to back you up and let you know that this ain't for us. We're a positive group, you know, we don't need things like this. And it's just like easier to deal with problems. This is one kid that we helped out, you know, he was going through a lot of trouble, like tough times in the streets and things like that. When he met up with us, he seen how much fun we have, like as a family. We told him, come join with us. And now he's like, you know what I mean? He's doing good for himself. He's like just chilling and he's staying out of trouble. He ain't in the streets no more. It's just like he's still dancing. You know, he's just keeping it up, going good.
Ilton says a lot of people think that to be accepted, you've got to drink. But he and his friends are proving that's not the case.
There's some kids that'll just keep pressuring you and keep pressuring you like, no, you know, you gotta drink. But like I say, you know, you don't need to be pressured into something you don't want to do, you know? Like when we go to a party, we all know we're gonna have a good time, you know what I mean? Where it's to the point where we don't need alcohol or drugs, anything like that to have a good time. You don't need to sit there and drink just because somebody's forcing you to drink or they're telling you to drink, you know what I mean? You're your own person, you have your own ways. If that's their way of drinking, that's what you gotta tell them. You know, that's your way. My way is to stay the way I am and I don't wanna drink. You know, if they can't respect that, then you just need to leave them.
There's another reason Ilton doesn't drink. His mother reminds him of the days when Lino, his favorite uncle and fellow Floor Lord, drank and got violent.
He used to drink a lot. You could just smell alcohol. You know how alcohol smells like, oh, he's been drinking today. Nobody get on his nerves if you don't want to get a beating, you know? It was just like a lot harder to just be around him when he was drunk. I'm just glad, you know, to see him off alcohol and things like that.
Ilton and Lino are now as close as father and son. With the other Floor Lords, they share a mission, reaching out to other young people who need someone or something positive in their lives.
That's our main mission, is to teach as much kids as we can and to keep them off the streets. It's just a great feeling to know that I could be there like a helping hand for somebody else.
Like Ilton, Megan, Dana, and Robert, you're going to make up your own mind about alcohol. You've now heard their true stories. Here's something else to remember. If you think there's a difference between beer, wine, and liquor like whiskey and vodka, you're wrong. Alcohol is alcohol. When it's abused, when it's used as a crutch or as an escape, it's dangerous. And if you're under 21, it's not legal. I hope you'll think about what they've had to say. And be honest with yourself. Ask yourself a couple questions. Am I risking hurting somebody I love? Am I risking hurting myself?
This program's funded by the following sponsors. This has been a presentation of Family Health Production. For information about purchasing a copy of this program, visit www.abouthealth.com or call 978-282-9970.